The giantess no one wanted, Zarelna was born in the mountains of Varnax 9, a cold, icy planet where life was hard and cruel. From the moment she opened her eyes, the doctors stared in silence. Her size was not normal. As a baby, she was already twice as large as others her age. The medics whispered, too big, too strong, too wrong. In her world, female strength was not a gift. It was a curse. The Varnax people believed that smaller females were pure. Only they could carry children. Big-bodied ones like Zarel were called stone wombs. They were told they could never give life. The doctors tested her again and again. Every time, they told her the same thing. You will never be a mother. You are a mistake. As Zarel grew, she became stronger than even the warriors. But the more powerful she became, the more the others feared her. Girls avoided her. Boys mocked her. The elders looked at her with pity, then with anger. On her 16th moon, the High Council gathered. Zarel stood before them, proud and tall. She hoped for a new role, maybe a guard, maybe a protector, but instead the leader spoke coldly. Zarelna, you are unfit for this world. You will never carry life. Your body is unnatural. For the peace of our people, you are cast out. No trial, no defense, just exile. Zarel was sent to the outer wilds, a frozen wasteland filled with monsters, deadly winds, and eternal snowstorms. They gave her one bag of supplies and nothing else. The cold bit her skin. Her large hands cracked in the ice. But she did not cry. She learned to survive. Years passed. She hunted beasts and built a cave deep in the cliffs. She named no stars, spoke no words. She had no one. The silence of the snow became her only friend. The galaxy forgot her. Then, one night, she saw a fireball streak across the sky. It was too fast, too loud. It crashed into the far valley with a thunder that shook the mountain. Zarel didn't care. Crashing ships came and went, most of them filled with thieves, hunters, or dying pilots. But as the cold wind carried the scent of burning metal and blood, something changed in her heart. She stood. She walked. And for the first time in years, she ran. The wreck was half buried in the snow. A small earth vessel, broken, steaming, and sparking. Zarel peered inside through a shattered window. There, among the smoke and fire, lay a human. A man. He was bleeding. His skin was turning blue from the cold. His eyes fluttered, barely open. His lips moved, trying to speak. He reached out. Zarel stepped back. She had saved no one before. She had only killed to survive. But this man didn't look like the others. He wasn't wearing armor, no gun in his hand, just a backpack, a jacket, and a journal. She stared at him. The old voices in her head whispered, "You are not made for care, you are made to fight, you are not a mother." But something deep inside her pushed those voices away. She bent down, picked up the broken man in her arms, and carried him back to her cave. The wind howled as she entered. She placed him near the fire and wrapped him in her thick animal skins. The man groaned but didn't wake. She boiled herbs, crushed them with her hands, and placed them on his wounds. As night fell, she sat beside him, watching, waiting, not knowing that this small act of kindness would change her life forever. Zarel woke to the sound of coughing. The human was alive. She walked over, slow and silent. He sat up weakly, trembling under the thick fur she had wrapped around him. His eyes, small and blue, blinked at her huge frame. He didn't scream. He didn't crawl away. Instead, he whispered, "Did you save me?" Zarel said nothing. She just stared at him, unsure what to do next. He coughed again, then smiled. "You have a fire. I didn't think I'd ever feel heat again." He reached, his hands out toward the flames. His fingers shook, pale and bruised. Zarel watched him. She didn't understand him fully, but she understood the look in his eyes. He wasn't afraid. That night, the storm outside grew wild. Snow slammed against the cave walls. The wind cried like angry spirits. The human stayed near the fire, using her furs like a blanket. She didn't join him. She sat farther away, sharpening her bone spear. He broke the silence. "My name's Noah Kane, from Earth." Zarel didn't reply. He smiled again. "You got a name, big one?" She paused, then finally said, "Zarel." It was the first time she had spoken her name in years. The next day, Noah limped outside the cave, trying to explore. Zarel followed from a distance. She didn't trust him yet. But when he tripped and nearly fell into a snow ditch, she caught him. Effortless, one arm. He laughed. "Okay, you're strong, really strong, thanks." Zarel looked at him. "Why, are you not scared?" He looked up at her, face serious now. "Because where I come from, strength is beautiful." She froze. No one had ever said that to her before. Later that evening, Noah opened his journal. It had pages filled with drawings, notes, diagrams. "I'm a reproductive biologist," he explained. "I study species who can't reproduce. I was headed to the core lab station before I crashed here." Zarel flinched at the word, reproduce. She turned her face away. He noticed. "You don't like that word?" "I was told." "I cannot," she said quietly. Noah blinked. "Who told you that?" "My people. They cast me out. Said I am too big. My body wrong." He was silent. Then he slowly flipped through his journal and pointed at a diagram. "That's not how Earth works. You'd be surprised what biology can do, if people actually understand it." Zarel's heart beat faster. She wanted to believe him, but her scars were deep. Suddenly, a deep roar echoed outside the cave. Zarel stood instantly, grabbing her spear. Noah asked, "What is it?" She didn't answer. She ran. Outside, 3 snow beasts, massive, fanged creatures covered in thick white fur, were circling the shipwreck. They smelled human blood. They were hunting Noah. Zarel didn't think. She roared louder than them, charging, straight into the snow. She moved like a falling mountain, fast, brutal, terrifying. She struck the first beast in the eye with her spear. It howled and ran. The other 2 lunged at her. She fought like a creature born of ice and rage. Her fists cracked jaws. Her feet shattered ribs. And when the final beast tried to flee, she tackled it into the snow and snapped its neck with one. Hand blood steamed in the cold. Noah stood at the cave entrance, speechless. Zarel returned to him, blood on her face, breathing hard. He looked at her like she wasn't a monster, like she was a protector. That night, Zarel sat closer to the fire. Noah handed her a piece of dried earth fruit from his pack. She took it. He said, "You saved me. Twice now." Zarel replied, "You didn't run. That is new." They looked into the fire together. Neither spoke for a while, but something had changed between them, a silence that wasn't empty. It was warm. The snow kept falling for days. Zarel and Noah stayed inside the cave. The fire kept them warm, but the silence between them had changed. It was not cold anymore. It was full of small glances, shared food, and quiet comfort. Noah spent his time writing in his journal. He drew Zarel's body not like a monster, but like someone studying something rare and beautiful. "You're built like no one I've ever seen," he said. "Strong muscle lines, deep core stability, thick bone structure. It's impressive." Zarel wasn't sure if it was a compliment, but her cheeks burned anyway. Then he added softly, "They were wrong to cast you out." That night, Zarel didn't sleep on her side of the cave. She slept nearer to the fire, closer to him. The next morning, Noah went outside to gather some clean snow for water. Zarel had warned him, never go far alone, but humans were stubborn. He walked too far. Zarel heard the sound before she saw him, a shout, a crash, a scream. She ran like a shadow down the cliff path, spear in hand. She found him lying in the snow, surrounded by 3 alien raiders, not snow beasts, but sentient scavengers from the nearby star rings. They wore jagged armor, their mouths filled with iron teeth. One held Noah down, another searched his pockets, and the third raised a blade. "Stop!" Zaryl's voice roared like thunder. The raiders froze, then they laughed. "Look at that one," the largest one shouted. "What is it? A mountain with breasts?" Zaryl didn't wait. She charged. The fight was brutal. She slammed into the closest raider, sending him flying into a boulder. The second one slashed her shoulder with a blade. Blood sprayed across the snow. Zaryl didn't stop. She grabbed the weapon and snapped it in half with her bare hands. Then she punched him so hard, his helmet cracked. The third raider, the biggest, grabbed Noah and put a knife to his throat. "Back off, beast," he shouted, "or I'll slit his neck." Zaryl stood still, breathing hard. Her body hurt. Her arm bled. But her eyes were calm, focused. She took one step forward. The raider cut Noah's cheek with the knife. "One more step and he dies," Zaryl whispered something in her own language, a prayer. Then she threw her spear. It flew through the air like a missile and pierced the raider's leg. He screamed, dropped Noah, and fell into the snow. Zaryl leaped forward and took the knife slash across her chest instead of Noah. The blade cut deep. But she didn't fall. She stood there, bleeding, shaking, and growled in the raider's face. "Run." They did. Noah ran to her, grabbing her arms, his hands shaking. "You're hurt. Why did you do that?" Zaryl sank to her knees, blood pouring down her front. "You are the only one who ever stayed." Her voice was soft, her eyes closed, and then she collapsed in the snow. Hours later, Zaryl opened her eyes in the cave. She was lying by the fire. Her wounds were cleaned and bandaged. Noah sat beside her, holding a bottle of strange human medicine. "You almost died," he whispered. Zaryl looked at him weakly. "You are safe?" He nodded. "Because of you." She tried to sit up, but he gently pushed her back down. "Zaryl," he said, voice shaking, "you are not a mistake, not a monster. You're a warrior, and I won't let you die alone in this place." Then he reached for her hand. His skin was warm and trembling. She didn't pull away. She closed her fingers around his. It was the first time anyone had ever held her hand, and she held on tight. Zaryl lay in the cave for 3 days. The wounds across her chest and shoulder were deep. She couldn't move much, but she stayed alive. Her body, built by nature to endure cold and war, was stronger than most. Still, pain wrapped around her like a second skin. Noah never left her side. He kept the fire burning. He hunted small snow creatures, boiled roots, cleaned her wounds every few hours. When her fever got too high, he placed cold snow against her forehead. When her body shook, he held her hand. He didn't sleep much, and Zaryl, through pain, through weakness, noticed something. He wasn't scared of her. Not even now. Not when her blood covered his hands. Not when her strength had knocked down a boulder during a fever dream. Not when she growled in pain so loud that icicles cracked off the ceiling. He was still there. On the 4th night, she finally spoke. "I was not supposed to be like this." Noah looked up from the fire, still, holding her wrist to check her pulse. "Like what?" Zaryl looked away. "Large, thick, unwanted." Noah sat beside her, his eyes soft. "They told you that, but it isn't true." She let out a broken laugh. "You are kind, but you are wrong. My people said I have no place among the mothers. They said my womb was sealed by nature. Their tests said I could never give life." Noah didn't answer at first. Then he picked up his journal from the stone shelf beside her bed. "I've been studying your blood," he said. She blinked. "What?" "Your wound gave me samples. I checked it under my field kit analyzer." He flipped the book open and pointed to sketches and notes. "Zaryl, you don't have a sealed womb. Your body is just different. Your species has a one-template system for females. Yours is the second type." She didn't understand. What does that mean? It means you're rare, maybe 1 in 1,000. Your people didn't understand your biology because it didn't fit their perfect system. But that doesn't mean you're broken. It means they were blind. He paused, then added, "You could carry life, but not with them." Zaryl's chest rose and fell faster now. "You mean?" "Yes," he said. "Your reproductive code doesn't match your own male's, but it doesn't match mine." The cave fell into a heavy silence. Zaryl stared at him. Her heartbeat pounded in her ears. She wasn't sure if she should be afraid, angry, or hopeful. She whispered, "You are saying you and I could make life?" Noah closed the book. "Yes." He looked serious now. "I'm not suggesting anything without your choice. This isn't about experiments. I would never use you like that. But Zaryl, if you want to know what it feels like to become more, I think your body is not the mistake here. I think your people made the mistake." Zaryl turned her face to the wall. She couldn't speak. Not yet. That night, she dreamed of her past. The council chamber, the cold faces of the elders, the words, "You are not meant to create." Then she saw herself, holding something warm in her arms. A small body, eyes like hers, fingers like his. Laughing. She woke with tears in her eyes. Over the next week, her body healed. Noah built her a better bed with thick hides. He crafted a curtain from ship cloth to give her privacy. He spent his days rebuilding parts of the wrecked vessel, trying to get the signal booster to work. But at night, he always came back. They didn't talk much about reproduction, but they talked about everything else. He told her about Earth's cities, music, and oceans. She told him about the night sky over her home mountains, how the stars looked like snowflakes falling up. One night she asked, "What would happen if we did try?" Noah paused. "Biologically, it's possible. My scans show that your cell structure can merge with human sperm. It's a low chance, but not zero." Zaryl looked at the fire. "And if it worked? Then you would be the first of your kind to prove your people wrong." She stayed quiet a long time, then nodded. "We will try. When the time feels right." One morning she stood at the mouth of the cave. The sky was clear. Noah stepped beside her. "Feeling stronger?" She didn't answer. She placed his hand on her stomach. "You said your machines read possibility," she said. "But I feel it." He looked at her, confused. "What do you mean?" She placed her large hand on top of his. "Inside, I feel warmth." Noah stared at her, stunned. "Already?" he whispered. Zaryl nodded slowly. Her voice was calm, but her hands trembled. "I don't know how, but something inside me has started." The fire inside the cave burned brighter that night. They sat together in silence, watching the flame. Zaryl didn't say much. She didn't know how to describe the feeling inside her body. It wasn't pain. It wasn't fear. It was becoming. The next day, everything changed. A blaring sound echoed through the sky. Noah ran outside, holding up a scanner. "A ship. It's not Earth. It's Varnaxian." Zaryl's breath caught. The council. They had found her again. Snowflakes fell softly, but the sky above the mountain cave burned red. Zaryl and Noah stood outside, looking up. A dark, sharp ship cut through the clouds like a blade. It wasn't human. It was Varnaxian. Long, black, with glowing green veins, and a symbol on its side that haunted Zaryl's past, the crest of the High Council. Zaryl's breath slowed. Her hands clenched. "They've found me." Noah looked at her. "They came for you?" Zaryl shook her head. "No. They came to erase what I've become." The ship landed far down in the valley. From the trees below, shadows moved. Warriors. At least 12, dressed in armor made from the bones of Varnak's beasts with staffs that crackled with frozen plasma. They marched up the slope, toward the cave. Zaryl turned to Noah. "You must go. Hide in the cliffs." Noah frowned. "No, I'm not leaving." "You Zarel's voice was steady. If they see you with me like this, carrying life with a human, they will kill us both. Noah stepped closer. Then let them try. She wanted to argue, but his eyes were full of fire, and deep inside her, so was her own. They stood side by side at the mouth of the cave as the warriors arrived. The leader wore a deep blue helmet and carried the staff of judgment, a weapon only the High Council gave to those who had the power to execute on sight. He looked at Zarel with no emotion. Zarilna of Varnax 9, he said coldly. By decree of the Council, you are a defect. You were exiled. You were warned never to return or be seen again. Zarel stepped forward. She didn't bow. I did not return. You came to me. The leader looked at Noah. And what is this thing beside you? A pet? Noah stepped forward. I'm human, and I'm with her. The warriors laughed. The leader didn't. She is carrying, he said, scanning Zarel's body with his gauntlet. The machine beeped twice. Shock flickered through the soldiers. Impossible, someone muttered. A freak like her can't breed. That's not our blood in her. The leader's face twisted with disgust. You dared mix with an outsider? A Deathworlder? He raised his staff. Then your punishment is clear. The seed must be destroyed. And so must you both. The staff crackled with energy. Noah reached for a weapon, but Zarel raised her hand. No, she said softly, and then she roared. Her voice thundered across the mountain. Her muscles tensed. Her veins glowed faintly under her thick purple skin. She stepped forward with force that shook the snow from nearby cliffs. Zarel's eyes burned with fire. I was cast out, she said. I was called useless, broken, unworthy. But this life inside me, it proves you were wrong. I will not kneel. I will not give up this child. I will not let you touch him, or his father. She picked up her massive spear from the cave wall and held it high. Noah stood at her side, holding a short blade he had made from ship parts. They were just two, but they looked like an army. The leader shouted, "Take them!" But something strange happened. One of the younger warriors hesitated. His hands shook. Another stepped back. Then a third dropped his staff into the snow. They looked at Zarel, not as a monster, but as a mother. The leader growled. He raised his staff and fired a beam of plasma at Zarel. Noah moved. He jumped in front of her. The blast hit his shoulder, burning through cloth and flesh. He fell to the snow, screaming. Zarel's world went red. She charged like a beast, slammed into the leader, and broke his staff in half over her knee. Then she lifted him into the air with one hand and threw him off the cliff. The others didn't move. They didn't dare. Zarel dropped beside Noah. His face was pale. He clutched his shoulder. Did we win? He groaned. She smiled. No, but we didn't lose. The remaining warriors looked down. No one attacked. They turned and left. Not because they believed in her, but because they feared what she could become. Zarel wrapped her arms around Noah and pressed her forehead to his. Never again, she whispered. I won't let them take what we've built. Noah smiled weakly. You saved me again. Zarel looked down at her belly where new life quietly waited. No, she said. We saved each other. The wind outside had gone still. For the first time in days, the mountain was quiet. The warriors were gone. The threat had passed. But the cave was filled with tension. Noah lay on the fur bed, his shoulder wrapped in soft bandages made from Zarel's cloak. His skin was pale, but his breathing was steady now. The wound had burned deep, but she had cleaned it with melted ice water and strange healing herbs she used on herself. He was safe. For now. Zarel sat near the fire, staring at the broken staff she had taken from the council leader. She turned it over in her hands. It used to mean power, law, and order. Now it was just broken metal, just like the belief she had once obeyed. They called me unfit, she whispered. Noah stirred behind her. You proved them wrong. She looked back at him. But at what cost? They will return. Maybe with bigger ships, more soldiers. Noah sat up slowly, wincing in pain. Then we run. We find somewhere else, a planet where they don't rule. She didn't answer, because a question had been building in her mind, one she feared to ask. Later that night, Zaril stepped outside. She looked up at the stars. Noah joined her, wrapping her old hunting cloak around his shoulders. "Still snowing," he said. She pointed to the west. A faint light blinked on the far ridge. "That is the emergency beacon," she said. "If you want, you can activate it. Earth will send someone. They'll come for you." Noah looked at the light. Then at her. "You want me to go?" Zaril didn't answer for a moment. "You have a world, a name, a future. Earth will take you back, give you comfort. A home," smiled sadly. "So would you." "But I am not Earth," she whispered. "I am what they threw away." Noah walked closer to her. "You saved me from freezing. You fought beasts. You took a knife for me. And you're carrying our child." He took her large hand in his. "Tell me, Zaril, where else would I find more than this?" Her breath caught. "I don't want to go home. Not if it means losing this." Zaril looked into his eyes, tired, honest, full of something no one else had ever given her. Faith. Slowly she nodded, then turned and walked into the cave. She returned moments later, holding a small box made of bone and metal. She placed it in Noah's hand. He opened it and saw a small crystal inside, pale green, glowing softly. "This is Varnak soulstone," she said. "Our kind uses it during bonding, when two choose to stay." Noah smiled. "You're asking me to bond with you?" Zaril nodded. "Not as a warrior, not as a protector, but as a mate, as family." Noah placed the stone against her chest. It glowed brighter. Then he whispered, "Then I stay." They held each other in the firelight, her hands around his back, his head resting against her shoulder. The cave no longer felt like a prison. It felt like a place of beginning. In the following days, they worked together. Zaril hunted. Noah fixed parts of the ship. He saved pieces for shelter, for power, and for warmth, but he left the beacon untouched. They wouldn't call Earth. Not now. Zaril's belly slowly began to change, small, almost invisible shifts. But they both noticed. She would sit by the fire, hands on her stomach, staring into the glow for hours. Not speaking, just dreaming. One evening, she whispered, "Do you think they will accept this child?" Noah looked up from carving wood. He smiled. "They won't have a choice." The seasons began to shift. Zaril's world, once ice and howling wind, started to calm. The blizzards came less often. The stars hung lower and brighter in the sky. And inside their cave, something warmer than any fire began to grow. Zaril's body was changing. Her stomach grew round, firm, and heavy with new life. Her steps slowed. Her breathing became deeper. But her strength, it never left. She woke each day with Noah's hand gently resting over her belly. At night she would hum to the unborn child in a deep, soft voice that only the caves and her mate could hear. She had never believed this moment would come. She had never imagined that she, the one rejected, the one abandoned, would ever become a mother. But the galaxy had not forgotten her. One night, while gathering supplies, Noah spotted movement in the far valley. Shadows, moving fast and low, too well organized for wild beasts. He returned to the cave, tense. "They've returned," he said quietly. "More scouts, different markings." Zaril sat still by the fire. Her eyes didn't blink. "From the core empire?" Noah nodded. "Not Varnax, someone else, maybe other species, maybe bounty hunters." He didn't need to explain. Word had likely spread. A Varnax exile, pregnant by a human male. proving that ancient biology was wrong. It was a threat to many, to pride, to culture, to control. Zarel stood slowly. She picked up her spear, not as a warrior, not as a killer, but as a mother protecting her child. "I will not let them take this from me," she said. Noah stepped forward. "We'll leave this place. Go deeper into the mountains." But Zarel shook her head. "Too late, they're already near. If we run, we will only be hunted." She looked at the fire, then at the walls of the cave. "We make our stand here." They prepared all night. Zarel set traps using snowstone and sharpened branches. Noah used parts from the broken ship, wires, sparks, and battery cells to build perimeter alarms and heat flares. When the attackers came, they would be ready. But what they didn't expect was who came first. The next morning, just after dawn, Zarel was outside inspecting the ridge when she spotted something unusual. A small figure in the snow, not a soldier, not a hunter, but a young Varnax girl. She wore no armor. Her eyes were wide, her steps unsure. When she saw Zarel, she froze. Zarel approached slowly, hands open. "Who are you?" The girl bowed. "I am Nira, daughter of exiles. I heard stories of the giantess who defied the council, who carried life against the law. My mother said, 'You are real.'" Zarel's heart thudded. "They call you the mother of the cold." More shadows appeared on the ridge. Families, outcasts, defectives, lost ones. They had come not to fight, but to follow. Inside the cave, Noah saw them gathering. He stepped outside, confused. Zariel turned to him. "They are like me, thrown away, forgotten. But now, they come for hope." Noah nodded slowly, then let them in. The cave became a shelter. Fires were lit. Furs were shared. Children slept near the walls, wrapped in animal skins. For the first time in her life, Zariel saw others like her, tall, broad, wounded, and still alive. That night, she felt a sharp pain in her stomach, and she knew. It began with silence, then waves of heat and cold. Her hands gripped the rock floor. Her breath grew faster, her eyes closed. Noah knelt beside her, holding her hand. "You're okay, I'm here." The exiles formed a circle. They brought her herbs, clean water, and warm cloth. None of them had ever seen a birth like this. But all of them believed, because Zarel was not just any woman now, she was the first. Hours passed. Her strength was tested. Her voice broke into roars. She bled. She cried, but she never begged. And when the final cry came, it wasn't hers. It was the sound of new life. A child, small with smooth skin the color of cold starlight, with eyes like Noah's, with small ridges on the forehead like Zarel's people, a hybrid, a miracle, a future. Zarel held the baby against her chest, tears running silently down her cheeks. Noah kissed her forehead. "He's beautiful," he said. "He's free," she replied. Word of the birth spread fast, across snow valleys, through radio signals, to deep-core satellites. The story became a fire that no council could stop. The mother of the cold has given birth. A human and Varnax, together. New life is possible. In quiet corners of the galaxy, others began to question, to rebel, to hope. Weeks passed. Zarel taught her son how to grip her finger with his small hand. Noah built a new shelter with help from the outcasts. They created a small village in the cliffs, strong, hidden, warm. Zarel's story became a tale told beside every fire. They no longer called her Freak. Now they called her Zarel the Brave, Mother of the Cold, the one who changed us. One night, as she rocked the baby to sleep, Noah sat beside her and asked, "Do you miss the stars?" She smiled. "I used to, but now, I have my own light." He looked at the child, then at her, and nodded.